Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're talking about the Houston Texans versus Tennessee Titans NFL Week 4 analytics matchup. Each week, I collect all of the current 2017 NFL data in order to analyze and project potential NFL performance. We're 3 weeks into the season, so it's not the biggest sample size ever. However, there will always be little nuggets of truth in every sample of data that you see, which could become bigger nuggets as the season continues. So stick around as I analyze each week's matchups based on analytics. And if you're new to the channel, all terms and definitions will be in the description. So starting with this matchup, when you look at the basic NFL data, again, the basic sort of NFL data, it favors the Titans. Not surprisingly, but it does. And to kind of explain why it favors the Titans the most, the big drivers is, one, the lack of turnovers. The Titans have one of the best turnover percentages when it comes to offenses in the NFL, while the Texans have one of the worst turnover percentages in the NFL. So basically, the Titans offense doesn't turn the football over a lot, whereas the Houston Texans offense turns it over a ton. Sack percentage, the Texans have one of the worst sack percentages in the NFL when it comes to their offense, whereas the Tennessee Titans do not have that bad of a sack percentage. They're one of the best in terms of keeping Marcus Mariota clean. So that's definitely an advantage. When you look at offensive score percentage, Titans have been very good when it comes to scoring on every single drive for the most part, whether it's getting a field goal or a touch or even a touchdown. So whereas the Texans have not been very lucky when it comes to the amount of drives that lead to scores. So overall, and then when you look at the defensive side of the ball, this is where things kind of swing into the Houston Texans' favor. They have a better ability to prevent points per drive versus the Titans. The Titans have a little bit better in terms of turnover ratio, but both of these teams have not been that great when it comes to creating turnovers. And then, of course, sack percentage is in favor of the Texans. The Titans have just not been able to do much sacks. They just have not been doing that very well for the most part. And interception percentage is pretty much even. So for the most part, you have an offense that just is really efficient, doesn't turn the football over. In many ways, it's kind of like the Oakland Raiders last year. The Oakland Raiders did not have the best defense overall, except for one player in particular, Khalil Mack. But they did have an offense that didn't turn the football over. They had an offense that did score regularly in terms of drives. And this seems to be what the Titans are doing. They seem to be kind of following a sort of Raider-ish type of approach to their team, which I think could end up with them winning the division. I mean, we'll have to see. This game will definitely be a big part of that if they win it. But this is definitely something to kind of consider. When you get to special teams data, so when you look at punt return yardage, it's in favor of the Tennessee Titans. Overall, kick return yardage, though, is a little bit more even. Defending punt return yardage is more so on the Titans side of the football, whereas defending kick return yardage is kind of an even sort of thing. When you look at field goal percentage, it slightly favors the Texans. When you look at extra point percentage, it slightly favors the Texans. And when you look at punting average, the Titans have better punting average. However, it's pretty evenly matched. So when it comes to special teams, pretty evenly matched, but the Titans do have an advantage when it comes to their punt return yardage overall. So they'll have that advantage with them in terms of field position sort of stuff because of the punt return yardage that they have. So this is the NFL basic stuff. Again, the NFL basics. So the basic info between these teams favors the Titans. So that's the basic thing to kind of take away from there. Then we look at the other sort of matchups. So when it comes to completion percentage, so this is the Houston Texans offense versus the Tennessee Titans defense when it comes to completion percentage success. And the Titans actually have somewhat of an advantage here. The Texans have been very good when it comes to first down completion percentage, but terrible when it comes to second down completion percentage and terrible when it comes to third down completion percentage. So this is pretty much a Titans win when it comes to this particular matchup. Then when we look at completion percentage of the Tennessee Titans offense versus the Texans defense, and the Texans actually have an advantage here. The Titans completion percentage when it comes to first down, second down, and third down has not really been that great. Some of that is because of new offensive weapons. Of course, Corey Davis, he's actually out for this game, at least according to most reports so far. That could change, but that's definitely what the reports have been so far, is that he's going to be out for this game. And on top of that, they just, the weapons are not the best. Not a lot of established guys and the other sort of stuff. But yeah, that's the one thing about the Titans' offense this year is in terms of completion percentage, they've not been the best when it comes to that particular data and those metrics. So, yeah, when you get to the rushing data, so the Houston Texans versus the Tennessee Titans, defense when it comes to rushing data, for the most part, when it comes to the Texans, they do have advantages when it comes to second down, but not so much when it comes to third down. And overwhelmingly, the Titans' defense has been above average when it comes to preventing not rushing yardage. Again, this is about success when it comes to first down conversions with the run. So the Titans have been fairly decent at preventing first down conversions with the run. The only real advantages, if you want to call them advantages, is the Titans have not done well when it comes to 3rd and 7 to 9, 3rd and 10 situations when it comes to creating first downs with the run. So those have been the only sort of areas where they've had breakdowns in their defense. For the most part, which I think largely, a lot of times when you're talking about 3rd and 7 and 9 and 3rd and 10, you're talking about quarterbacks. You're talking about quarterbacks that basically are in throwing situations, and then they chuck it and run it, and then they get a first down. So this actually might favor the Texans in this game, is that, Deshaun Watson is an athletic quarterback. He has the ability to get yardage with his legs. So when he's in these 3rd and 7 and 9 situations, 3rd and 10 situations, the Titans have not been very good at containing quarterbacks in those situations. So that may not be, that may be different in this case, but I do think that that's one area that you might be able to exploit, is this particular matchup. The Titans just don't really do well when it comes to containing athletic quarterbacks for the most part. And we'll see if that changes in this game. That's definitely a matchup to kind of watch for this game when it comes to the running game. Then we get to the Titans versus the Texans in terms of their running game. The Titans have advantages when it comes to second down, but they don't have advantages when it comes to first down or even third down by exceptional amount. But again, there is some chance in 3rd and 7 and 9, 3rd and 10 situations that they can exploit that. So Marcus Mariota, well, actually not exploit it, but the Texans have actually been pretty good in those particular situations. But again, for the most part, when it comes to the Titans, it's kind of evenly matched, but it does favor the Texans to a certain extent, especially when it comes to third down situations. Been pretty good in terms of preventing third down conversions with the rush in third down situations. So that's definitely something to kind of monitor with them, since the Titans are a team that's, I wouldn't say they rely on the run per se, but they definitely need to have balance to make their offense really work at its highest proficiency. Then we get to passing data. So the Houston Texans passing offense versus the Tennessee Titans passing defense. For the most part, surprisingly, the Houston Texans are actually favored in this game. The Titans have just not been very good when it comes to their passing defense. They've, in terms of preventing first downs, they've been one of the worst in the NFL when it comes to 1st and 10 situations. Second down situations have been kind of it's a little more evenly matched, but third down situations does favor the Texans as well. So despite the fact that the Texans have not, they've been below average when it comes to their ability to create first downs on first down, first downs on second down, and first downs on third down. But when you play sort of a meh kind of passing defense, in terms of their ability to prevent these kind of things in the Titans, I think that'll help the Texans out in terms of passing for Deshaun Watson. And then when we get to the Tennessee Titans offense versus the Houston Texans defense, when it comes to their passing defense, the Titans will have advantages when it comes to first down. Third down, not so much when it comes to second down. Second down situations has been with the Texans have been really, really good when it comes to their passing defense. I do give this slight advantage to the Titans, despite how overwhelmingly strong the Texans are when it comes to second down situations against the pass. I think it does I think it does say a lot about first down situations and third down situations. Third down situations are money situations, and the Titans have been very good in those situations. So despite some of the lack of success they may have in terms of second down situations, I think this does favor the Titans when it comes to this particular matchup. Then when we look at sack rate, so it's basically the amount of sacks that are given up and the amount of sacks that are made versus the Houston Texans offense, the Tennessee Titans defense. For the most part, pretty evenly matched, except for third down situations. Despite the issues that the Texans have had with their offensive line, third down situations they haven't given up a lot of sacks in terms of third down situations. So this would be a very interesting sort of matchup. The Titans have not been that great when it comes to creating sacks as a whole, as you saw with the basic data. But this is definitely something to kind of watch because of some of these sort of issues, I guess, when it comes to them. Then when we get to the sack rate of the Tennessee Titans versus Houston Texans, the Titans have advantages when it comes to first down and third down. Second down is a little bit close. The Texans do have an advantage here, but it's pretty close. I mean, I'll give it for the Titans, but it is very close between these two sort of matchups. Then when we get to the interception rate, so this is the interception ratio of the Texans offense versus the Titans defense. This favors the Titans in terms of second down situations, first down situations, and third down situations. First and third down situations are a little bit more even, but the Titans defense does slightly have an advantage, and it especially has an advantage when it comes to the second down situation. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how this kind of works out, because the interception ratio has not been the best for the Texans overall when you look at the overall data. And then when you look at the Tennessee Titans, again, turnovers don't really happen that much on this off. Up to this point, they've not been turning the football over. Marcus Mariota has not been throwing a lot of picks. And on top of that, not a lot of fumbles either. And this is what you get when you do that. So the Texans have not been very good when it comes to creating turnovers, and they're about to face an offense that is very good at not giving up turnovers. So I think this is pretty much in the Titans' favor when it comes to this particular situation. So ultimately, how do I feel about this matchup? Well, I don't really feel good about this matchup because as much as I really do like the Titans. I mean, the data basically favors the Titans overwhelmingly. It is a fairly limited sample size. You do have to take into account that the Houston Texans, the first 2 games of the year were just kind of awful for them. Deshaun Watson, on a very short week had to come in and play a Thursday night game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and that, of course, didn't really go. They won the game, but it wasn't the best performance. And then last week, you got to see a little bit more of what Deshaun Watson could bring to the table. So you have that sort of element to things, and on top of that, the Texans defense still has some good qualities to it. So this is an interesting game. I'm going to go with the Titans here, though. Again, the overwhelming data kind of favors them. I don't see them turning the football over a lot. I think their defense will keep Houston in it. I think Deshaun Watson should have some success against this Titans defense and actually look pretty good against this Titans defense. But I do think that overall the Titans will continue to do what they do. They might get a couple picks, or maybe not picks, but just turnovers. Like they'll find a way to get some turnovers on defense, despite the fact they can't really stop them, and then ultimately get the win. So overall, again, I go with the Titans victory. Of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.